Similar.
Very, very similar.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Adesanya said that Silva was one of his idols, and he emulated his style after him. I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast.
You see it.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Oh yeah, they're like they're almost they're almost exactly the same the way they fight, which it's great for Adesanya. He's young, he's fast, he's got that. Silva's got the age and experience with it, but this is when the speed slows down, right? And his game,
Silva's old. People like he's over 40 years old.
Yeah, where his
he's got
game
42 fights under his belt.
Yeah, his game's slowing down nowadays. And, like, you look at his past fights, it's all about him moving. Like, when he ever got into, like, deep water, it wasn't, like, almost, not to be, like, critical of him, because obviously he's probably one of the greatest fighters to walk this earth.
Right.
But when he started getting into deep water, he
folded.
And his speed, his speed started slowing down. He couldn't do what he did. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you that question real quick. When you mentioned he goes into deep water, because that kind of happened when his first UFC loss to what's his name? The All-American, I think he's calling himself.
Oh, Chris Weidman?
Chris Weidman, yeah. When he got knocked out by Chris Weidman. Because I've seen a couple of times where, like, before that, Silva would get into deep waters. Like, the one that comes to mind for me is when he was fighting Chael Sonnen.
Yeah,
and Sonnen was beating the shit out of him for, like, all 5 rounds. And then, out of nowhere, got that fucking triangle on him and finished him off. Like, that right there solidified me as Silva as the GOAT at that point in time. But then, you think ever since, like, the Chris Weidman knockout and then the TKO when he broke his leg, it's just kind of been like downhill from there for him?
Yeah, I feel like he got taken off his mountaintop at that point, and he's nothing to take against from him. You know what I mean? Like, you're way better than I am. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to step in there with you. You know, to be honest with you,
not yet.
Not yet. But you know, hey, nothing to take away from the guy, but he is over 40 years old. Your game was based on having speed and misdirection, kind of like a Floyd Mayweather, but you got a lot more limbs flying at you instead of, you know what I mean? Like your fists are like, okay, I can kind of read your shoulders, and you can only throw these 2 big blocks that are coming at me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Okay, now I don't see your feet coming. You know what I mean? I don't see your shin coming, your knee coming to my body or my head or low leg. You know what I mean? And that caused a lot of misdirection. And he doesn't have the speed that he used to. And like you look at like one of the fights that sticks out to me is you watch like a Forrest Griffin fight when he fought him.
Yeah,
he literally had his hands down, just bouncing around the whole time, and then he, with speed and like precision, pops him right on the chin, knocks him down.
Yeah,
right?
That was crazy.
Right?
That was crazy.
You know what I mean? I don't see him moving like that.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't move like that, and I haven't seen that maybe within the past 3 years.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And at this point in your life, you look at like the most people in the MMA world. Randy Couture, he got to like 42, and it really curbed. You know what I mean?
Right,
Dan
right,
Henderson, he's curbed. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
No, I don't care how good you is. Like Tom Brady, we were just talking about him. Father Time is going to catch up to him, just like it caught up to Anderson Silva, just like it's going to catch up to Floyd Mayweather. All these great people.
Yeah, Tom Brady's in a position where he can get protected very well. Well, you invest in that line.
But I mean, eventually the velocity is going to come off.
Yeah. Well, you look at like Peyton Manning.
Slower.
His last year.
Yeah, Peyton Manning fell off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Got taken out by Brock Osweiler.
And they don't understand it. Like they're not
Brockster.
They don't see it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
BJ Penn in his last fight, he didn't look good.
Exactly. He's getting taken out by no name. Funny little story. I saw him.
Was nasty.
Funny little story. I saw him down at UFC Utica.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be bigger than he was.
He's little.
Oh my goodness! He came up to my nipples. I was like, me and my cousin. Right, so we go down there, right, and we have tickets for like the floor seats. My one cousin, he's I don't know. I love him. My cousin Richie. Shout out to him. He's fun time. So we're walking up, and he doesn't even notice him. And I'm like, is that fucking BJ Penn walking down here? Like, what the fuck is he doing in the middle of Utica, New York? Like, yeah. So I like kind of like get up next to him, and he came up literally to my chest, and I was like, he's a bad man, but like, man, dude, you are tiny. I can't believe, like, I fight 155, 170, and you're fighting my weight. What the hell is going on here?
Right. Damn.
Like, you must have been like a really pissed off bowling ball.
All right. So Style Bender, Adesanya. I'm assuming you liking him in this fight.
I love him in this fight. He's
got to be the favorite.
He's too fast for him. He's too fast. And like I said, this is the changing of the guard right now. You watch this fight. He is going to play. He's going to play the game with Anderson Silva, but he's going to pick him apart the whole time.
So like when he's introduced as like a freestyle fighter. I want to get your opinion on it. What would you say is like his mainstay? Like, what is his go-to style?
I don't know. You could call him kickboxer. You could call him kung fu. I would say something like that, like a kickboxer, Muay Thai kind of thing. Which most of your stand-up fighters like that are training that quite a bit because it's very effective. Yeah. I train it myself. I wouldn't call myself a Muay Thai fighter, but training Muay Thai and kickboxing, oh my goodness.
I watched one of his recent one as a fight in I think it was like in last year June or something like that. Forgot the dude he fought. I was watching it on YouTube the other day, and very entertaining. Like the dude kept like putting him in body locks in him against the cage, trying to wear him down. Kept his composure, got out of it, stuffed takedowns again and again and again. So he got really good takedown defense. It looked like stunned him and finished him. So that any fighter that can when they get somebody in deep waters can go out and get that kill, I fucking love that about him.
Yeah, it's difficult to do. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Like you can stun somebody with a wild punch. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, but you got that killer instinct to just keep it going, and especially like where he's at, he can move so fluidly to get you to like, okay, I popped it, but now I'm getting into my next move. Like I have trouble with all of that myself. You know what I mean? Like me and the coach were going at it today, and I got a good couple right hands, but like my next move, like it's like.
Yeah, how do you follow up?
Yeah, like I played my hand. All right, well, you got my ace in the hole already. You know what I mean? Like, where do I go from here now? Yeah. You know what I mean? And where he's got that killer instinct, and that's that next level where they're training 6-7 hours a day, and that's all they do. You know what I mean? They're getting paid millions or not millions of dollars, but they're getting paid big time money
pretty well.
To do this all day long, and then they're getting paid to train people and do what they need to do, but. That comes with sparring, getting into it in practice, and getting into somewhat deep water in practice, and then practicing situational. You know what I mean? And where I bet you he's been in that situation probably 150 times, and it's getting to the point where it's just secondary reaction instead of you know what I mean? Like okay, now I got to think. As soon as you start to think. The window's closed. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's same thing with any other sport. You know what I mean? Once you start to think,
instead of just like naturally going,
it has instincts. To be. It has to be. It's twitch reactions. Right. You know what I mean? You're acting and 0.1s of a second, not 1, 2, 3. Do something. It's 0.1 of a second needs to happen. It needs to start happening. The action needs to start happening. If not, window's closed and you're getting clocked again in the head. You know what I mean? And he has that reactionary from doing that, but his fluidness helps him to get to the window.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like he has the quick reaction, but also he has practiced being fluid and in his movement. Especially like you just look the way he moves. It's like I don't know, almost like a weird like Amazonian creature. You know.
All right, so Adesanya, you rolling with Ed? How about yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm rolling with a 2. I haven't seen him really fight too many times besides just the ones I watched, but I was impressed.
Yeah, you gotta look him up.
I'm looking forward to a show tomorrow. And then also I want to get y'all take on the Whitaker fight. Who you think taking that one?
I think Bobby Bones is taking that. And this isn't because of taking anything against Gastelum. I think it's going to go decision. I think they're both going to get rocked in different rounds. I think it's going to decision, and it is going to be a hometown favorite.
Okay.
They're in Australia. Bobby Knuckles is the man in Australia. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's holding that belt, and he's had different struggles. What was it, MRSA, and then a knee injury in the past. And if they lose that belt, all hell's going to break loose, I feel like.
Yeah, I've seen him fight a couple of times, and yeah, he'll put that work in. I second that. Yeah.
When I was just watching the Yoel Romero fight. That was a fucking war. That was one of the better UFC fights I've seen in a long time. And like usually when Romero gets you hurt, like, you're done. Whitaker, he wouldn't go out. The third one that they fought.
That was a slugfest.
That shit was crazy, yo.
He is the only guy in the 185 division that I have thought was going to, like, going into the fight, was going to win. Yoel Romero. I just look at him.
There's no fucking way he's 185.
He looks like a linebacker,
yo. This dude look like he's like 225 pure muscle.
Well, imagine his cut.
He got Brock Lesnar traps.
That shit is crazy. He's built like a fucking superhero. Like he should be starring in a Marvel movie.
I think he cuts from like 210 or something like that down.
That's a lot.
He or like 200 pounds. He's probably walking around at like 225. You know what I mean? Like me and you eating. Also, he's probably still working out 3 hours a day, but walking around at like 215, 220, and then camp time he's getting down to about 200 pounds, and then cutting. But like he said, he's getting paid to do this. But he's a freak of nature.
Yeah,
that is one person that I like. He baffles me, and especially with how much he's been tested because he was an Olympic wrestler coming out of Cuba. Mm-hmm. He's an alien. He's a freaking alien. Somebody dropped him off.
All right, I wanted to get a couple extra questions here for you. The Conor McGregor and the Khabib fight. I think it kind of went how everybody pretty much expected it. Like McGregor's been out of UFC for a couple of years. You're coming in fighting the best lightweight at that time, and he, for lack of a better phrase, beat the shit out of him.
He did.
Do you think there's anybody that can really challenge Khabib at this point in time in that division?
Hell no.
No, not really.
Because Dana White said today that Tony Ferguson should be the next guy up to get a fight with him.
I believe in that. But at the same time, Tony Ferguson, backed out 3 different times now with him, and I like was it El Kuke, whatever his name is,
something like that.
I do like him. I think he's got a weird training method and different striking style than Conor does. Also, I think Conor was a little bit over puffed up and just made some money and living the good life, which I can't blame him for. Would you make $130 some odd million?
He cashed in for that Floyd fight.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, what would the rest of us be doing?
Right.
Right. Do I want to go get punched in the face by this crazy Russian guy that wrestles bears, or do I want to? Sip my ties by this Las Vegas beach.
Yeah, right. With my beautiful wife and son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but at the same time, I think Ferguson's probably like the best one to have a shot at him.
He is number 1 right now.
But anybody else is kind of a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everybody else is fighting for number 1 contender.
I seen Joe Rogan was talking about it.